Welcome back, everyone. We're just ready for first pitch here in the second game of our doubleheader between the Northern Vermont University-Lyndon Hornets and the UMass Boston Beacons. My name is Milton Posner. Thank you so very much for tuning in. You tuned into the first game. You tuned into the first game. You can probably maybe have a sense of where this one might be going. Who knows? But the first one, a 15-3 win for the Beacons, courtesy of an 11-run sixth inning in which 16 batters came to the plate. Several batters reached multiple times, and just general craziness ensued. Craziness on the base pass, craziness in the outfield, craziness in the infield, craziness over the outfield wall. All around craziness. Ryder Thornton's going to ground that one to second base. Aiden Blake bobbles it briefly and throws wide. Nice stop there by the catcher. That would be number 34, Henry Score, to keep that one from being a two-base error. So Ryder Thornton reaches on an error to start the game here against Jackson Snyder, the sophomore right-handed pitcher, 6'4", 210 pounds, out of Durham, North Carolina. This is my promise to you right now that I will try to limit the Bull Durham jokes that I will make throughout this broadcast at his own expense. This is his first appearance of the season. Comes home and fires high. Ball one. Got a few lineup changes over the last game. We'll get to those in just a moment. It's going to be a 1-1 count. Fires home, and that's a strike. No, I'm sorry, that's going to make it a 1-1 count. It is 1-1 now. This is going to be John Mahoney. 3 walks in the last game, and moved up from the 7th to the 2nd spot, possibly in recognition of that. Takes ball 2. 3 walks and a strikeout. Did not put a ball in play in any of his at-bats, but was stranded on base 3 times. This is an interesting distinction here. UMass Boston had 20 combined walks and hits and left 5 men on base. Ground ball to the shortstop. This could be 2. It's bobbled. The shovel to second. Oh, it is in time. Oh, that is a very questionable call out there. That really looked like this feet got to the bag first. So UMass Boston gifted an out after a second consecutive ground ball bobbled by a middle infielder. First one by Aiden Blake was an error as the throw to first sailed wide. The second one, Gianni Zarilli saved of an error by a very generous call. Oh, that one opened up way early. I don't know how he got a bat to that thing. That was closer to his chin than anything else. 0-1. This is Skylar Bushy out of St. Albans, Vermont. 5'11", 190. Freshman infielder here for the squad. 2 hits and 4 trips in the last game. Scored one of their 3 runs. But what I was saying earlier was 20 combined hits and walks for UMass Boston. Runner off for second base. Throw down to second. And pops out of the glove. Sliding in safely with the stolen base is Mahoney. 20 combined hits and walks for UMass Boston. They only left 5 on base. NVU-Lyndon has 13, that is to say 7 fewer combined hits and walks, and yet strands twice as many runners. This is timely hitting for the Beacons, and it was them stringing everything together, hit after hit after walk after hit, in that onslaught of a 6th inning, in which they scored 11 runs and blew the game open and then blew it open some more. But now with a runner in scoring position, and still after having recorded 1 dubious out and nothing more, here we stand. Oh, that's a high fly ball deep left field off the bat of Bushy. That ball is gone. And the Hornets, after a 12-run loss in the opener, have come out swinging in a big way in the second game. First home run of the year for Skylar Bushy. The first home run the team has hit this season, for that matter, coming in their 10th game. And it's 2-0 in the early going.
The designated hitter, number 30, Jordan Kane.
A big fly here. And for Jackson Snyder, a rough awakening here. A couple of ground balls in which the hitters reach despite him doing nothing wrong, and then gives up a big fly that hurts a little bit extra. 2-0 Hornets in the early going. Still just one out, and it's the designated hitter, Jordan Kane. Takes a big swing and a miss at a pitch nowhere close. 0-2. Kane, in the last game, 2 hits and 3 at-bats, tacked on a walk as well. Ground ball, fielded nicely by the third baseman, Metzdorf. Low throw, dug out at first by Palma. Out number 2. The batter now is Dylan Wilson. 2 of 4 in the last game. RBI hit to his name. First pitch comes across. It is just catching the outer half there for a strike. Oh, 1 pitch. Snyder comes plateward. That one's off the plate. Snyder trying to get back on the horse here after he hung a pitch to Skylar Bushy. And in the 10th game of the season, or excuse me, make that the 11th game of the season now for the Hornets. They finally get their first big fly. The pitch, big swing and a miss, and the count is even. Henry score behind the plate, handling Snyder. It's a ground ball over to second base, fielded cleanly this time by Blake. Throws to first for the 3rd out. But the Hornets get 2 on a big fly from Skylar Bushy at the end of half an inning. It's 2-0 Hornets. It's the top of the order for the Beacons in the bottom of the 1st. That's Steve Brookwell, the center fielder, Tom Q, the left fielder, and the third baseman, Drew Metzdorf. Craig Corliss is in the cleanup spot should anyone reach. He is playing as the designated hitter in this game, paving way for Henry Score in the 7th spot to be the catcher. Everyone else slots in where they were previously. That is Blake at the second base, or really at short, Herrera in right field, and excuse me, one other change. Nick Palma starting the second game at first base. Meanwhile, it's Alberto Bustamante behind the plate for the Hornets. Thornton has moved from behind the plate into left field. Roberge in right. Wilson at third. Carlos Batista is getting the start at second. Camden remaining at short. Bushy sliding from left, or third, excuse me, to first. And on the mound, it's going to be number 42, Jacob Wetzelblatt. His third appearance, his second start. He has pitched 3 innings total, ceded 6 earned runs and an unearned run on top of that. 0-2 on the year with an ERA of 18 flat. And pulls the first pitch into the opposite batter's box, 1-0. He's given up 2 walks against 3 strikeouts and a home run as well. And he's got to contend with Steve Brookwell, Tom Q, and Drew Metzdorf. Pitch nibbles the inside corner for a strike. Those 3 hitters combined to go 5 of 12 in the opener with 4 runs batted in and only 1 strikeout. That one's over as well, 1-2 to Steve Brookwell. One-two pitch, high and away, and Brookwell wisely takes to even up the count. 2-0 Hornets. Runner reached on an error. Then a fielder's choice, which really should have been another error. The fortunate call from the umpire, fortunate if you're a Beacon. And then Skylar Bushy with a 2-run drive over the wall in left center field. And rung up. Brookwell set down on strikes there as Wetzelblatt gets his first out of the night. Tom Q now strides to the plate. One of those guys that head coach Brendan Eigebrodt gushes about, says he looked very good in the preseason, especially after a good year last year. Can hit to all parts of the field, got superb speed as well. Top 4 bat in their lineup. He likes his top 4. He knows who they are. It's Brookwell and it's Q. It's Metzdorf and it's Corliss. With those 4 setting the table, he's confident he can go up against anyone in the Little East Conference, including East Con and Southern Maine at the top of that conference, or at least as the poll dictates. Wetzelblatt, winds, fires, and it's over for a strike. 0-2. Here's the pitch, high and away. 1-2 the count now. First game was an eventful one, to be sure. And it didn't have any scoring until the 3rd inning. Scoring started in this one about 3 minutes in. And it started with the first home run that University-Lyndon has hit this season, and it comes in their 13th game. The bludgeoning that UMass Boston just gave them, the 15-3 drubbing, as Q strikes out, Wetzelblatt strikes out the first 2 batters, that in their first 7 games, all of which were losses, here were the scores for the Hornets. It was 12-2, 14-2, 5-0, 10-1, 8-3, 14-1, and 12-11. They gave up at least 10 runs in 5 of those 7 losses. Only twice have they held the opponent under 8 runs. The last game was not necessarily out of character for them, but this game, they have jumped all over UMass in the first inning, and Jacob Wetzelblatt is getting right after these hitters. It's Drew Metzdorf right now, 0-1. 0-2 now as that one tails toward the lower corner. A little bit exasperated on the call is Metzdorf, but he is down 0-2. And Wetzelblatt, who has come out very strong, has thrown just 9 pitches so far. Here comes the 10th, and a line drive down into left field. That one is caught on the slide. What an incredible catch by Ryder Thornton. Catcher in the first game, sparkling left fielder so far in the second. And he takes an extra base hit away from Drew Metzdorf to end the first inning. We'll be right back. That was the call that UMass got in their favor. A gift out, but the next batter steps to the plate, and you see how much difference it made. Kept a run off the board as Skylar Bushy with a long home run over the left field wall. And in the bottom half of the frame, just when Drew Metzdorf looked to have broken through, a sliding catch. Ryder Thornton, one of those rare players who can proficiently play both catcher and an outfield position, shows us exactly what he can do with the leather. Jackson Snyder now trying to get back on the hill and back on the hump more accurately. Gave up those 2 runs in the first inning, although one of them, or both of them, going down as earned runs, even though one of those runners reached on an error. That was Aiden Blake's error to lead off the game. E.J. Camden, the shortstop, to lead it off, followed by Tyler Roberts, the right fielder, and Carlos Batista, the second baseman. All against Jackson Snyder. Big right-hander out of Durham gets big swinging strike 1, and the count runs even. Outside, 2-1. If you're just joining us, bearing in mind that this one is going to be a 7-inning game. This is the cost of moving the doubleheader a day earlier and later in the day. It's a fly ball into right field. Lazy fly, easily snagged there by Ethan Herrera. When this game was originally scheduled, it was going to be a full-length doubleheader commencing around midday tomorrow. But Boston weather didn't look kindly on that plan. We're going to be rained out for all of tomorrow, just like we were snowed out on Wednesday. So the game got put forward a day. Start time dropped to 4 p.m. And we're going to be playing 14 total innings instead of 18. Fastball over the plate. 0-1 the count to Tyler Roberts. Jackson Snyder wasting no time, fires away. 1-1. Remember the defense behind him. It's Nick Palma at first, Aiden Blake at second, Gianni Zorilli at short, Drew Metzdorf at third, and left to right in the outfield, it's Tom Q, Steve Brookwell, and Ethan Herrera, with Henry Score behind the plate catching Jackson Snyder. Two 2-1 pitch. Snyder comes home. Ground ball to Aiden Blake. Gets another chance. This one he fields cleanly. Textbook indeed for the second out. Now it's going to be Dylan Wilson.
The second baseman, number 36, Carlos.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is Carlos Batista. I'm looking at the wrong sheet. This is going to be Carlos Batista stepping in. 4 of 9 on the season. With a walk on top of that, he has struck out 3 times. Scored twice, knocked in a run. 5'5", 135. Diminutive middle infielder out of Davenport, Florida. Has played bigger than his size so far. And he swings and misses at the second offering. 1-1. Easy to underestimate the little guys. They have built-in advantages. You'll remember the obvious one being A very small strike zone here for Jackson Snyder, who's standing 10 inches taller than Batista, to throw to. Ground ball up the middle, moving to his left, Zerilli. Oh, bobbled it initially, throws to first just in time to get the third out of the inning. So the Beacons middle infielders, a little bit of butterfingers in the early going, but they're just getting by in the second. Scoreless inning, and after an inning and a half, it's a 2-0 Hornet lead. We'll be right back. Craig Corliss, Aiden Blake, Gianni Zorilli, the designated hitter, second baseman, and shortstop, respectively, to get things going in the bottom of the second inning. UMass Boston goes down in order in the first against Jacob Wetzelblatt. And looking to rectify that here. They had a scoreless first pair of innings in the last game before breaking through in the third inning, tacking on a run in the fourth, and generally making a mockery of the entire Hornets pitching staff in the sixth. 1-0 now to Corliss, crowding the plate. Line drive, left center field. That one's going to fall. That's for a base hit. Corliss steaming around second. It goes all the way to the wall. And that's a stand-up double for the cleanup man to lead things off in the bottom of the second. Split the gap perfectly. It rolls all the way to the wall. Aiden Blake going to fish for a hit in the dark here. It was his error that let the runner on, who ultimately came around to score ahead of Bushy in the first inning. And looking here to make amends for the error. Wiggles his way in there. Wetzelblatt checks his runner. Comes home. That's a little deceptive little delivery there as that one goes high. He's staring at the runner for longer in his delivery than most pitchers would be. Makes it difficult for, cuts down their secondary lead. Could make it easier for his infielders to keep him at second or for his outfielders to keep him at third on a single that lands in the grass. 1-2 now. For Blake. Oh, he takes ball two. That one's in the dirt. Corliss going to third now. And he's in standing up. And so a runner on third with nobody out. And Corliss, who got caught stealing in the bottom of the second inning in the last game, got caught stealing third. This time he doesn't have to work too hard for it. He just scampers over there. And for Aiden Blake now, who is 3 of 4 with 3 runs scored and a run batted in the last game, he's going to take ball 3 here. And it has to be tempting to not feed him anything good here. But the bottom of the lineup, you've got Gianni Zarilli, who was clicking as well in the last game. There aren't a ton of soft spots to land. And ball 4, they put him on indeed. So the first couple base runners of the game let on here by Wetzelblatt. And now it's going to be Gianni Zarilli, 1 of 3 with a walk and 2 runs scored in the first half of the doubleheader. He comes up here with a run 90 feet away, the tying run standing on first base.
The shortstop, number 3, Gianni Zarilli.
Guy that head coach Brendan Eigebrot made a point of shouting out, saying he took great strides in the offseason. We've seen it so far through the first 3 games. He takes strike 1 here. The Beacons as a unit, coming into today, we're hitting .274 through their first couple games. It's 3rd best in the LEC. On base percentage, .415 is 2nd in the conference. Their slugging percentage is tops. For that matter, their runs per game, their walks per game, ranking 2nd in strikeouts per game and hits. And their pitching has been superb as well. Tops or tied for tops in earned run average, batting average against, hits per 9, strikeouts per 9, home runs per 9, whip. They've had very few wild pitches. So really, as there's a runner taken off for second there, and with a pitch in the dirt, he will make it standing up. Aiden Blake swipes the bag, and now there are 2 runners in scoring position. The tying run at second base. And Zarilli, whose would-be error in the first inning was not punished by the umpires, with a chance to do some damage here. Ball that finds the outfield grass can tie this game in the bottom of the 2nd. 2 on, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2-0 lead for the Hornets. UMass Boston threatening to erase it in the bottom of the 2nd. Wetzelblatt comes set, winds, fires, swing and a miss, and down goes Zarilli. 3rd strikeout of the night for Wetzelblatt in the first out of the 2nd inning. And now it's Nick Palma.
The first baseman, number 27, Nick Palma.
You're listening in the first game, or watching rather, as Palma takes ball 1. I can tell you he's got maybe the most inspiring story out of any player swinging a bat in the LEC right now. Unenrolled from UMass Boston last semester to undergo chemotherapy. He wasn't with the team for a while and has fought his way back. Ground ball here to first. Kicks off the first baseman's shin. A run will score. 2 runs will score. And this game is tied. Welcome back, Nick Palma. 2 RBI. And this game's even. It's Henry Score to the plate right now. One of the position players who did not make an appearance in the last game. He has a walk and was retired in his only 2 plate appearances thus far this season. Oh, and just scampering back is Palma there. Got a little bit of a late break for it, and it was a quick snap move there from Wetzelblatt, not wasting any time showing him the B move. 1-0 now. There he goes, and it's a line drive into left field. Rounding second and on his way to third is Palma. The throw to the bag is off, and he's in. Nick Palma, emboldened by the running start, goes first to third on a single to left field and just beats the offline throw. Daring play right there. They can score him without a hit now if they need. A sac fly or a RBI ground out will do just fine and give the Beacons the lead. We have a meeting on the mound now. There's a clean single in the left field for Henry Score, his first of the year. And now it's Ethan Herrera. Came into today hitless. Left with his first home run of the season. It was a solo home run. And then had an RBI walk later that inning. No, not later that game. Later that inning. It was that sort of sixth inning. And if you haven't seen, if you were not watching the first game, I cannot recommend more that you go back and watch that sixth inning. You can find it on the same website you're looking at this one. Don't do it now, obviously, but later when you have some time. It's really wonderful. It's a circus show. There's no way to score 11 runs in an inning and have it be any other way. But there you have it. This one's even at 2 apiece. UMass Boston, 2 runs on the board, 2 runners on base. Oh, and can they get another one in? Yes, they can. RBI ground out as Palma comes in to score. The Beacons lead at 3-2. And a ground ball hit too softly to be a double play gets the job done in the in the bottom of the second. Steve Brookwell to the plate now. With a runner in scoring position. Line drive, right field. That is a base hit. Around third and on his way in is Henry Score. He will, well, score. And the Beacons lead it 4-2. 4-2 for UMass Boston. And their second multi-run, or their third multi-run inning of the day. And they may not be done here. Thomas Q strolls to the dish right now. Chopper to short. This is going to be a tough play for Camden. Fires across the diamond. Great throw to get him. A big arm on a small guy deep in the hole at short. E.J. Camden gets it done in breathtaking fashion. 4 runs for UMass Boston as they pull even, then take the lead and double the lead. We'll be right back from Monin Park. Alberto Bustamante, the combo catcher slash pitcher slash whatever they need him to be, strolls to the plate to lead off the third inning and immediately lines that one foul, one hopping to the parking structure. For Jackson Snyder, the Beacons pitcher who hopped back on the hill and took care of business in the top of the second, looking to keep the momentum going here. It was only the second inning that first one was, where UMass Boston has allowed more than one run this season. Come to think of it, they've only allowed 5 runs in their first, does quick mental math, 29 innings this season. Excuse me, 27 innings. 1-1 pitch. Bustamante out ahead of it, and the count 1-2. Pitch comes in, chopped roller in front of the mound. This one could be dangerous. It's the catcher Score who picks it up and fires on to first for the out. Difficult ball to field right there. You got the pitcher converging on it. They can take odd hops. You're springing up from the crouch, but Henry Score deftly gets it done. And with 1 out in the top of the third, the batter will be Ryder Thornton. Led the game off, reached on an error, was quote-unquote forced out at second on a call that should have gone the Hornets' way. Wines fires Snyder low. 1-1 the count. It's an increasingly chilly night. Spring night here in Boston, Massachusetts, or almost spring night, I should say. We're still in winter. But we've got baseball for you nevertheless on the Beacons Broadcast Network. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Milton Posner. On behalf of our awesome crew, thank you so very much for hopping in and listening to us, watching our humble little broadcast. Ball sails high up by the chin. 2-2 the count. 1 out, nobody on. Jackson Snyder settled in rather nicely after a rocky first inning, where one swing of the bat cost him a couple of runs, both of them earned. Wines fires outside. Count is full. UMass Boston put their 4 runs up on the board without the help of a home run. Hornets got all of theirs on the long ball. And strolling to first base is Thornton now to bring up John Mahoney, who has established himself as the king of the base on balls so far, nabbing not just 3 walks for himself, but the Hornets' only 3 walks in the prior game. He reached on what was ultimately determined to be a fielder's choice his last time up, and didn't have to wait around long on first base before Bushy's home run cashed him in. First pitch is over for a strike, 0-1. Infield playing at double play depth. Thornton taking a modest lead off of first, being held on there by Palma. Snyder comes set from the stretch, comes home. Oh, and a nice job there to fight off the pitch and get good wood on it, as Mahoney fouls it off the light tower, but he's nevertheless in the hole, 0-2. It was not a particularly good pitch to hit, and he just did get his wrists around on it. Oh, 2 pitch comes in. Pitch in the dirt. Runner takes off. He is out at second. Strong throw on a hop from Henry Score, and the base runner's erased. One and two the count now. Pitch was in the dirt. The throw was on the money. And UMass Boston with a chance to get out of the inning cleanly here. Snyder's pitch, breaking ball outside. 2-2. Two strikes, 2 balls, 2 outs. Here's the pitch. High. 3-2. Mahoney is patient, if nothing else. 3 walks in 4 trips to the plate. And that one's back through the box. What a pick by Snyder. Calm as can be, he goes to first. And the Beacons are out of the inning. Through 2.5, 4-2 Beacons from Monin Park as night has fallen, but we've got more baseball coming your way. Strong throw from Score, right on the money on a hop to cut down the base runner. And Mahoney back through the box, a quick cat-like reflex there from Jackson Snyder. And a Beacons defense that started off on very rocky ground in the first inning and change has tightened itself up very nicely here. Now strolling to the plate, it's Drew Metzdorf. 2 hits and 14 at-bats. His freshman year, it was at UMass Amherst at the Division I level. Then popped over to Plymouth State in the LEC. Hit .346 with 31 runs batted in across 36 games in 2020 and 2021. And now the intra-conference transfer coming over to UMass Boston. Plymouth State 5-6 so far this season. They were projected to finish 6th in the poll. +8 run differential, though. A line drive by Metzdorf, but right at the left fielder, Thornton. And Thornton, after making a great catch to rob Metzdorf his first time up, barely has to move to snag that one. You have to imagine Metzdorf probably wants to slug him right now. Drew Metzdorf, twice has he hit the ball on the screws, and twice he's had nothing to show for it. Now here's Corliss. Led off the last inning with a base hit and came around to score. And he'll take strike one here to open the AB. Wetzelblatt trying to rebound from a tough inning. 1-1. The first batter he faces in the bottom of the third hits the ball on the screws. So weak contact or a strikeout is going to be the name of the game here for Wetzelblatt, the freshman right-hander out of Reston, Virginia. It's a long way from home here as he finds the zone for strike two. 6'2", 175 pounds. Came into this game having ceded 6 earned runs across the 3 innings he had pitched. Didn't stay in the game long in his one start. Had a relief appearance on top of it, and now gets the nod to get things going in this one. Oh, and crosses him up badly on that one as Corliss will be thrown out trying to stretch the strikeout into a base running appearance. He is the second out. And now with 2 outs, the batter will be Aiden Blake.
The second baseman, number 9.
4-2 Beacon lead here. As Blake slams that one into the backstop and rattles the bleachers a little bit. Last time up, walked and scored a run. And a stolen base to his name as well, helping himself get around the bases. Big hook finds Paydirt on the inner half, and Blake is in an 0-2 hole. Lyndon trying to keep this thing close. Avoid the similar outcome to the opener of the doubleheader. and blows it right by him. Wetzelblatt, pure gas past Aiden Blake for the third out of the inning. And for his fifth strikeout of the opening 3 innings. To the bottom, or excuse me, to the top of the fourth we go, still 4-2 Beacons. Well, the last time Skylar Bushy stepped into the batter's box, Jackson Snyder wasn't really happy with the outcomes. He drove it over the wall for a 2-run jack. That is, to this date, the only scoring for the Lyndon Hornets in this game. First pitch strike. It was also the first home run that a Hornet has hit this year, coming as it does at the beginning of their 11th game of the campaign. This is a Hornets team that was supposed to play on the first of this month. They had a game that was against St. Mary's that was canceled. And so the 7 games they played in the last week of February, 9 games rather, that they played in the last week of February, were the only games they'd played up until now. So UMass Boston, only 2 games, but maybe a little bit more in the flow of things than a game that has had a team that has had about a week and a half off. They're 2-7. Nobody in the North Atlantic Conference has played a conference game, but of the ones who have played non-conference tilts, only SUNY Cobleskill at 2-2 has a non-losing record. Everyone else does. Husson's 4-5, and Lyndon's 2-7 record is still enough to lead the 3 other schools in their subdivision. Bushy set down on strikes this time, a little bit of revenge for Jackson Snyder, and with 1 out, the batter will be Jordan Kane. Even in the West Division of the North Atlantic Conference, no one's played particularly well. The other teams, other than SUNY Cobleskill, have losing records. In the LEC, UMass Boston and Eastern Connecticut State University both entered the day with 2-0 records. UMass Dartmouth coming in at 5-3, Rhode Island College at 3-2. Castleton has split their 6 games, and the other squads either have losing records or, in the case of WestCon, haven't gotten to playing some baseball yet. 2-0 to Jordan Kane as the next pitch sails high and maybe a little bit away as well. UMass Boston finished 3rd in the preseason poll in the LEC. They were the best team to not receive any first place votes. Ball 3-0. Brendan Eigebrod asked him about it. He said, the poll reflects last year's best team. He feels that it got the top tier, that is EastCon, UMass, Dartmouth, UMass Boston, Rhode Island College. Feels it got them correct. Questionable inside pitch right there, called a strike. And it's 3-1. The bottom tier would be Castleton. Or excuse me, the bottom tier, I got this a little bit jumbled. It's going to be EastCon, Southern Maine, UMass Boston, and Rhode Island College in that top tier. Everyone else in the bottom tier. Eigebrod says he feels like that was correct. But they're not worried about last year's finish and how it reflects on this year. They're happy it's done. They're ready to get down to business. Jackson Snyder's trying to get down to business, and that's a long hooking foul ball off the bat of Kane. He's got some muscle, as we've seen in the early going. Had a couple of ringing base hits in the opener of the doubleheader. Another 3-2 pitch. Chop back to the mound. Snyder on a hop. Hops to get it. Tosses to first, and that's the second out of the frame. So humming along smoothly so far is Jackson Snyder. After the first inning home run, retired the last 2 hitters that he faced. He has retired 7 in a row. And here comes up the man he wants to make number 8. It's going to be Dylan Wilson. Retired his last time up. Line drive, and there goes the streak. That one fielded on a hop by the left fielder Q. Throw comes into second, and he got to it quickly to limit Wilson to a single. But the second hit of the night for the Hornets injects a little bit of life into the lineup. And with 2 out, 1 on in the top of the 4th, the batter will be E.J. Camden.
The shortstop, number 7.
Snyder been on cruise control for a little while now. Now has to settle in and pitch from the stretch, one would presume. Indeed he does, and that one is low in the dirt. Score takes a minute to find the ball, but he keeps the runner at first. Infield shifted a little bit toward the pull side. And with Nick Palma holding the runner on it, Wilson on it first. Oh, and it goes through the left side of the infield anyway. And so another hit. And all of a sudden, there's 2 on with 2 out. And the batter will be Tyler Roberge.
The right fielder, number 2, Tyler Roberge.
Infield going to have to decide how they want to play this one. They're not holding the runners on particularly tightly. They don't need the double play balls. 2 outs already. They just need 1 out. And that one's going to skip by. Snyder pulled it into the opposite batter's box. And now there are 2 runners in scoring position. The tying run is at second base. And Snyder, who had retired 7 hitters in a row, gives up 2 hits and throws a wild pitch to put himself in a much trickier predicament. Oh, 1 pitch, 1-0 pitch rather, and makes it a 1-1 count. Snyder first appearance, not to mention first start of the season. Rocky start, splendid recovery, and now a return to the rocks if he can't get the inning under control and escape with a 3rd straight goose egg. 2-1 the count. Two and 1 the count now. 2 on, 2 out, 4-2 Beacons. Here's the pitch. It's high and a 3-1 count now. Dangerous territory. First base is open. Second baseman Carlos Batista, 0 of 1 so far today, is on deck. 3-1 pitch to Tyler Roberge. It's cracked into right center field. That one is falling, but running it down in center is Brookwell. And that'll end the inning. By the skin of his teeth, Jackson Snyder dodges trouble. And at the end of 3.5, the Beacons still clinging to a 2-run lead. was a dangerous start to the inning for the Hornets. Line drive single. Then a ground ball single to keep things going. And it looked for all the world like things were going to take a big turn south for the Beacons after a period of sustained momentum. There's a wild pitch coming from Jackson Snyder. But they ultimately made it out of the inning okay. No runs scored, and now they've got a chance to pad their lead. It's 4-2 in the favor of the Beacons, and it's the shortstop Gianni Zarilli, followed by the first baseman Nick Palma, and the catcher Henry Score. The final two of whom each have a hit so far in this game. The former has an RBI. Oh my goodness! That one is gone and then some. Gianni Zarilli with a long bomb to get things going in the bottom of the fourth. Second home run in as many days for Zarilli. And it's a 3-run lead for UMass Boston. Topped off to first there. Palmer retired on the first pitch. A big fly over the left field wall. Gets things going in dramatic fashion for Gianni Zarilli. Another home run for the Beacons, already establishing themselves in the top tier of the LEC in a counting stat, that would be home runs, despite having played fewer games, markedly fewer games, than many of the other squads in that stat table. Big hook in for a strike from Wetzelblatt. And that one didn't hook as much as maybe he wanted it to. Down to first base goes Henry Score for the second time tonight. Hit by pitch. And strolling up to the plate now is Ethan Herrera. Right field and hitting in the ninth spot, both games today. Knocked in a run on an RBI ground out his first time up. He has plated a run in each of his previous 3 plate appearances. There was the RBI ground out. Before that, an RBI walk. And before that, well, launched the ball over the wall in left field for a solo shot. Stretching back into the first game, he's had 3 consecutive RBI plate appearances. He's got a chance for a fourth, maybe not imminently likely with Henry Score at first base, but with 1 out, 1 on, 0-1 the count. Did he hold up his swing? Yes, he did. 1-1 the count. 1 out, 1 on, 1 in, 1-1 count. With Score taking a modest lead, but down in the crouch at first. Wetzelblatt fires in for a strike. It's a lot more arm as opposed to generating power with his legs when he's pitching from the stretch as he fires off a quick snap throw to first. Scampering back is Henry Score. Well, you look at how much it seems to be just arm strength here, rocking back, firing it past the hitter. Strikeout for Wetzelblatt as he sits down Herrera. And with 2 outs now, it's to the top of the order and Steve Brookwell. And college baseball newspaper player to watch before the season started, along with a couple of teammates on the pitcher's side. That would be Alex Amalfi and Dylan Fashampur. That one tails off the black, and it's 1-0. Steve Brookwell. 2 of 4 with 2 runs scored in the opener of the doubleheader. He digs that one out, sends it into medium right center field. Coming over is Roberge, and it's over his head. He misjudged it. Rounding third and scoring easily is Henry's score. Brookwell will wind up at third with what'll go down as a triple. And the Beacons have their second run of the inning on a badly misplayed fly ball by Tyler Roberge. We've seen a few of those now at different times of the day. Lost in the lights, perhaps. He may never have picked it up off the bat. And a very costly miscue out in right field for Roberge. Big hook in there for Wetzelblatt, who, I don't know if you can make that out on the mound. He kind of made fun of Q's little, I don't know what to call it there, that little shiver back from the plate, the little Q squares to bunt, pops that up, that lands in fair territory, barehanded, and he's in. Pops up the bunt and places it perfectly enough that he reaches anyway. So gets his knees buckled on a breaking ball and then reaches on the most curious bunt single you'll see for a little while. Scores the run as Brookwell comes in from third. It's a 3 spot in the fourth after a 4 spot in the second, and UMass Boston leads it 7-2. Scoring with 2 outs. And again, the Hornets having trouble closing the door. And now with Q leading from first, Metzdorf takes strike 1. Drew Metzdorf has hit the ball in the screws both times. Both times it's wound up in the glove of the left fielder, Ryder Thornton. The first time because of a sliding catch on a rather nice one moving toward the line. And the second time because he happened to be positioned perfectly. Another snap throw, closer this time after a back pick attempt. And they're really trying to erase this inning by doing something other than pitching to Metzdorf. He takes ball 2. Two balls, 1 strike, 2 outs, runner on second, 3 runs cashed in, and the Beacons looking for more. Catcher sets up outside, and they get the strike. 2-2 now. Wetzelblatt's had a rocky time of it, trying to escape the 4th inning without any more damage. Rocks back, fires, ball's in the dirt, heading for second and sliding in safely is Q, and another runner moves into scoring position for UMass Boston. Q takes second. And Wetzelblatt now has got to contend with Metzdorf, knowing that a single will cash the runner in. He looks Q back to second base. He didn't have anyone covering. Q had 6 stolen bases in 19 games last year. And Metzdorf's going to take first base. Craig Corliss strolls to the plate now. 1 of 2 with a run scored, was strikeout victim his last time up. DHing after he caught the first game. 15-3 win for UMass Boston, if you didn't have the pleasure of joining us for that one. 7-2 in this one. It's been a combined score of 22-5 in the Beacons' favor today. As when they have scored runs, they've really piled them on. Corliss, fly ball, deep center. Backing up on it is Mahoney to make the catch with a couple steps room in front of the warning track. A 3 spot for the Beacons in the 4th, and they lead it by 5. Top of the 5th coming up next from Monon Park. New pitcher popping in here. It's going to be the left-handed sophomore Aiden McMillan, 6'2", 210, out of Walpole, Massachusetts, making his first appearance of the season. Lefty is going to face the second baseman, Carlos Batista, the catcher. The catcher, Alberto Bustamante, the leadoff man, the left fielder, Ryder Thornton, and should anyone reach, John Mahoney. First pitch is over for a ball. Few lefties out of this Beacons bullpen, but he is one of them. He goes 2-0 now on the leadoff man. The final line on Jackson Snyder in his first Beacon start. 4 innings pitched, 68 pitches. 2 earned runs, 3 hits, a strikeout and a walk. Faced 16 batters and did so rather efficiently. It's a solid start for him. 3-0 pitch now. Finally over for a strike. Count 3-1. Batista retired his first time up, as were the 2 people to follow him. Top of the 5th now. And he takes ball 4. So for the Hornets running out of outs, they've only got 9 of them to play with, and they need 5 runs. But the walk is a good way to get things started, and it's going to bring up the number 9 hitter, Alberto Bustamante.
Number 35, Alberto Bustamante.
Fires runner, takes off immediately, scores, throw down is high, and in time. Henry Score, for the second time in the game, has thrown out a runner going for second. The throw was high, but it had enough mustard on it to beat the runner to the bag with room to spare. The walk is erased. Hornets playing aggressively, and Henry Score making him pay. And with the bases empty and 1 out now, Bustamante's got a 1-1 count. Big swing and a miss there. For Aiden McMillan, his mistake is erased. He's got a clean slate now to go after the number 9 hitter. 1-2 pitch. Check swing. No swing. 2-2. Bustamante did a nice job holding his momentum. 2-2 pitch now. McMillan taking his time, getting his sign, winding, throwing. Strike 3 called. First strikeout of the outing for Aiden McMillan. And with 2 outs, we're going back to the top of the order, and the left fielder, Ryder Thornton. Reached on an error his first time and was eliminated at the force out at second. Walked his second time and was caught stealing. It's the last guy Henry Score threw out at second base before the one you just saw. 1-0 now. Temperature outside has dropped to about 43 degrees with a wind advisory in place. Heat index dropping below 40. It's only going to be an issue for so long for this Beacons team. They got a game against MIT in a few days. They're going to be heading down to Concordia University in Texas, where they can enjoy some warmer weather and perhaps some barbecue and Stetson hats. I really don't know what people in Texas do. If you live in Texas and would like to tweet at me, by all means. 2-2 the count now to Ryder Thornton. Well, Texas barbecue does sound pretty good right about now. Beacons made a point of saying on social media that they're going to go grab some. That one's topped off toward first, dribbling foul, and we'll do the 2-2 pitch again. Two runs in the first for the Hornets. They've been quiet since. Stranded a couple runners in scoring position in the last frame. For UMass Boston, 4 runs in the second, 3 in the fourth. They have scored in only 5 of the 11 innings they have played today. and yet they've put up 22 runs. 15 in the opener, including 11 in the 6th inning of that game, and 7 in this one. Second walk of the inning issued by McMillan. We will see if they are gutsy enough to try to run on Henry's score again. The runner at first is the one who was caught the first time. That would be Ryder Thornton. He is now 2 of 3 on stolen bases for the year. 0-1 the count. Here's John Mahoney. Reached on the fielder's choice and scored on the home run in his first appearance. Was retired his second time up. 2-0 the count now. And he's ahead in the count just the way he was in the first game. Cracks that one into the screen behind the press box, or in front of the press box, rather. 2-1. 2-1 pitch now. McMillan winds, fires. That's a high pop fly over toward the Beacons dugout. Is there enough room? Oh, Palma crashes into the fence and just missed making the catch. It's an exceedingly difficult ball to try to play. It's going to be 2-2 now. Runner on first, 2 outs. Remember, it's a 7-inning game, and we're in the top of the 5th here. The Hornets have less time than they ordinarily would to close the 5-run gap they find themselves facing. And now 3-2. So even though Ryder Thornton probably wasn't planning on taking off for second again against Henry's score, with 3-2, 2 outs, he's got carte blanche to do it. Takes a big secondary lead, gets his start, and we'll do it again. Three, two outs. 6th pitch of the at-bat comes home, and it's ball 4. Third walk of the inning for McMillan, and he's having some control problems in the tight spots. And now with 2 on and 2 out, the batter is Skylar Bushy.
The first baseman, number 4, Skylar Bushy.
They're going to have a chat on the mound here. Not sure if this is going to be it for McMillan, but he has retired only 1 batter of his own accord. One of those 2 outs was the result of Score throwing a runner out at second, and he has walked 3. Looks like they're going to have him stay in the game here, but you have to imagine he's on thin ice, particularly given that this is the heart of the order, and Skylar Bushy is the man who put the 2 NVU-Lyndon runs on the board in the first place. Came into this game hitting well above 350 and has, even as a freshman infielder, established himself as a heart of the order hitter on this Lyndon squad. Two on, 2 out. Top of the 5th inning. Aiden McMillan, making his first appearance of the season, has walked 3, but an assist from his catcher means there's only 2 men on base. Nibbles the inner half for a strike. 0-1. A 7-2 game, still in the Beacons' favor. Oh, 0-1 pitch. Lands that one for a strike, and whatever they told him on the mound has been working so far. Wind picking up a little bit out there. Blowing out toward right center. A little bit toward center field as well. Cracks that one on the ground, foul. Ground ball had a lot of bite to it, but he got around just a smidge early. Oh and 2. Chance for McMillan to get himself out of the jam he created. Fires home. Pop fly toward first. Palma calling off his teammates, makes the grab, and for the second straight inning, the Hornets strand a pair. After 4.5, it's a 5-run lead for UMass Boston. Aiden Blake to lead things off in the bottom of the 5th, followed by Gianni Zorilli and Nick Palma. Last time we had these 3 leading off an inning, there was a ball launched over the wall in the left fieldwardly direction. Pitch comes into Blake, cracks it right past the pitcher's shoes and into center field for a knock. Takes a big turn around first base and retreats, and oh, he maybe could have had it if he'd gone. 1 on with nobody out. And here comes the big man himself, Gianni Zorilli, with a home run to his name in his last AB, 2nd in the last 2 days.
The shortstop, number 3, Gianni Zorilli Jr.
And now a test for Wetzelblatt. Still in the game, 4+ innings under his belt, 7 runs allowed. Five of those runs earned. Aiden Blake, if you're curious, has not tried a stolen base so far this year. Showing bunt is Zorilli, and he takes strike 1. Interesting decision for a guy who smacked the ball out of the field his last time up. Also playing small ball when you're up 5. But principle's going to principle, I suppose. Throw over to first, and a very close one. Wetzelblatt has a very quick move over to first. He's really trying to cut down on that lead here. Maybe a way of prepping himself to focus on the hitter. Settles back down and fires high, 2-1. Fires home. 3-1. And a big pitch here for Wetzelblatt. He's got a runner on first. A 3-1 count on a hitter who hit a homer off him the last time. A UMass Boston lineup that's red hot. And Zorilli will take first base. Thank you very much. 2 on and none out. And Nick Palma strolling to the plate. Runs scored in an RBI so far in this one, despite not having a hit. And the lefty steps in. A chance to do some damage here, and he shows bunt. Third baseman comes jogging way in. That pitch gets by. It's second and third with nobody out. And Wetzelblatt's nightmare just kind of keeps on chugging. 1-0 the count now. You have to assume they're going to take the bunt sign off. It seems odd to do a squeeze in this sort of scenario. Infield still playing up. Ready to cut down a runner at home on a ground ball. 1-0 pitch. Wetzelblatt to Palma. High. Ball 2. For Wetzelblatt now, we can see there are pitchers warming in the bullpen for NVU-Lyndon. He has thrown 66 pitches. Still looking for the first out of the fourth, and he finds the first strike of the at-bat there. Dangerous territory for him here. Palma with Henry Score on deck. Faces a 2-1 pitch from Wetzelblatt. Oh, great location on that one, bringing it from the other batter's box to the outer half. 2-2. From a full windup, Wetzelblatt comes home. Palma slices it into the net, and we'll do it again. Aiden Blake at third. Gianni Zorilli at second. Palma swings through that one, and down he goes. Back to the dugout. And the first out of the inning for Wetzelblatt and the Hornets. Now on to the number 8 hitter. It's Henry Score. 1 hit so far, 2 runs scored. Has gunned down 2 runners at second base. That's been just as valuable a contribution. Hacks it foul. Ethan Herrera. Hitless in this one, but with an RBI, and with a home run in the earlier game, waits on deck. 2 on, 1 out, 0-1 pitch. Wetzelblatt from a full windup comes home. Ball. 6 outs left for the Hornets to leverage in trying to score 5 runs. It's a 7-inning game, product of where the doubleheader was moved and when it was moved to. 1-1 pitch. Low again. Thank you very much for tuning in to our broadcast. My name is Milton Posner. On behalf of the entire crew here, we appreciate you. We appreciate the ears. We appreciate the eyeballs. Appreciate you joining us for some awesome baseball. Wines fires, swing and a miss. 2-2 the count now. Oh, nope, I'm sorry. The scoreboard's a little bit backwards. That was strike 3. That's going to be the second out. And now an inning that started with 2 runners in scoring position and nobody out is now possibly going to yield no runs for the Beacons. It's Ethan Herrera. He's trying to make sure I'm wrong about that. Stands in against Wetzelblatt and takes ball 1. Part of the problem for Wetzelblatt, as opposed to what he was doing in the beginning, is that he's not establishing the first pitch for a strike as much as he was. He did it early, and he got by. Ball two. When the Beacons started hitting those first pitch strikes, he started firing off the plate. And it worked for a little while. Then the Beacons started taking pitches. They've got 3 walks to their name at this point. And Wetzelblatt's having a hard time figuring his way around the big bats. Line drive, center field. That one's going to fall. Fielded on a hop. It's going to score 2 runs here. Sliding into second with a double is Herrera, and the Beacons have extended the lead. They lead it 9-2. A hustle double. And he plates score. Excuse me, he plates Blake and Zorilli ahead of him. And now back to the top of the order. Steve Brookwell with a runner in scoring position. Brookwell really crowding the plate here, more so than a lot of these guys. But if you look at it when he steps in right here, I mean, his foot is, he's right on the back corner, and his foot is right on the line. He is not giving an inch of that outer half back to the pitcher, and Wetzelblatt's going to have to find out how to negotiate it. 1-0. Oh, comes inside, and that's a strike. And this is the challenge for the umpire. The illusion of a hitter leaning back can be very alluring, but when you're standing as close to the plate as Brookwell is, pitches that come close to grazing you can be strikes. 1-1 pitch, 2 outs now. And that one almost hit Brookwell as well, but this one's inside. Ethan Herrera, the right fielder, leads from second. The center fielder, Brookwell, stands in, 2 out, facing a 1-2 pitch from Wetzelblatt. Swings right through some high cheese, and the count's even. Two-two pitch comes home. Little check swing, chops it past the mound. This one could be dangerous. Brookwell beats it out. Runner coming home, and he is dead to rights at the plate. An ambitious dash for the plate from Herrera, but a good throw home gets him. And at the end of 5, it's 9-2 Beacons. Get up, take a stretch. If you're around and feeling generous, you can bring some barbecue to the Monin Park press box for Daryl, and we will see you in the top of the 6th. Top of the 6th inning, Ross Dexter climbs the hill for UMass Boston. Second time we have seen him today. Graced us with his presence in that first game. No, I'm sorry, I've gotten this backwards. I have very much gotten this backwards. My apologies, folks. It's confusing him with someone else. Ross Dexter is going to make an appearance here. This is his first appearance of the season. Getting my wires uncrossed. We get there eventually. And so Dexter, he's going to face the middle of the order. That's going to be Jordan Kane, the designated hitter, Dylan Wilson, the third baseman, and E.J. Camden, the shortstop. Fires in and, ooh, almost drilled him in the hip with the first pitch. Second pitch, rather. And the count is 2-0. Dexter comes set. Fires home. Strike. Ross Dexter out of nearby Milton, Massachusetts. 6'3", 220. Big guy standing up there. Freshman righty. This is his Beacons debut. And he fires low and away. 3-1. Assuming for a moment that the current score holds, UMass Boston will have added on a 9-2 win. Dexter walks Kane. Oh, no, he doesn't. Kane had tossed his bat to the on-deck circle, he was so sure. It looked like it missed the plate, but benefit of the doubt for Dexter. But if UMass Boston holds on, they will have tacked on a 9-2 win to a resume that includes today's earlier 15-3 win. That ball dribbled foul. Yesterday's 8-0 romp. And Monday afternoon's 10-1 evisceration. It's going to give them a combined scoring margin of, let's double check, we got 9 plus 8 plus 12 plus 7. It's going to give them a plus 36 margin. That's an average of plus 9 per game through their opening 4. And Kane goes down swinging. Thought he should have had a walk and probably should have. And instead he goes down whiffing.
The third baseman, number 33, Dylan Wilson.
Dylan Wilson climbs into the box now. It's been a thorough thumping so far in this one and in the opener. Beacon's looking to keep the train rolling. Ball one outside on the first pitch to Wilson. Here's the 1-0. Cracks it hard down the right field line. Great distance on it, but just a little bit behind. And it sails foul. One and one out. Dexter taking a moment. Fires in. Oh, a little bit of frisbee slider there. Gets it over for the second strike. That ball started out shoulder to shoulder with the hitter Wilson and wound up over the heart of the plate. 1-2 pitch, same pitch. This one tails off the outer edge, and it's 2-2. E.J. Camden coming up after this one. Dexter comes set, fires home. That's the gas, and it's dribbled. Topped off to third. This is going to be a tough play. There will be no throw. And an infield single for Wilson. He's the third baseman himself. He knows how tricky that play can be. If you don't get a perfect hold on the ball right away, you got to get rid of it fast.
The shortstop, number 7, E.J. Camden.
And now Camden. Barring a 7-run top of the 7th, the only way Lyndon is going to preserve a hope of tying or winning this game is if they can make a run right now and tack some runs on in this inning. It's essential. And down 0-1 now is Camden. Coming set now is Dexter. Looking his hitter up and down, fires well high. That pitch got away from him from the instant. Sails over the head of everyone standing around the home plate, and there's a runner in scoring position as a result. Now Dexter's looking back. There's nobody holding the runner on, so he comes plateward. That ball topped off to first base. Easy walk to the bag for the second out. Advancing to third is Wilson. And with 2 outs now, the batter will be Tyler Roberge.
The right fielder, number 2, Tyler Roberge.
Oh, 1 pitch. Oh my goodness, that thing got out of here quickly. It's one of the hardest hit balls of the day, and it was hit about 2 feet over the UMass Boston dugout. 0-2 to Roberge, with a runner on third, representing a run that the Hornets desperately need. Oh, found the outside corner. What a pitch from Dexter. Shows out in his Beacons debut, and after 5.5 innings, the lead is still 7 runs. We'll be right back. Couple of new entrants to the game here. For one, it's going to be the left-hander Cooper Whitehouse, making his 3rd appearance of the season. He's given up 3 runs across 3 innings pitched so far, 1 strikeout against 4 walks. On the Beacons side, it's going to be a couple of pinch hitters here, it would seem. First, it's going to be Luke Levitt, who holds the distinction of being one of the Beacons who reached base multiple times in 1 inning in the last game. In addition, seems we're going to have a new entrant into the day's affairs. It's going to be Zach Park, the freshman outfielder. And then followed up by Aiden Blake hitting in his usual spot. The 2 I just mentioned, it would seem, are pinch hitting for Metzdorf and Corliss, and will presumably slot in for them defensively. Corliss is the DH, I suppose, so someone's going to slot in at third base for Metzdorf then. There's a chance for Brendan Eigenbro to get a couple of at-bats for some guys who may not play a ton. See what they can do. Nine to the score. And if you were with us in the first game, you know how the last bottom of the 6th inning turned out. It lasted several years, and UMass Boston scored something of the order of 10,000 runs. If you didn't actually know, it was 11 runs for the Beacons. 16 batters came to the plate. Most of them spent about an hour on the bases. And the runs kept coming. Run after run, hit after walk after reach base however you can get it. And despite hitting only one home run, the Beacons put up more runs than NVU-Lyndon has scored across their 13 combined innings so far. Whitehouse deals to Luke Levitt. It's instrumental in that inning, and he takes ball one. That pitch comes in low. It's 2-0 to Luke Levitt. We mentioned what he did in the last game. The sophomore outfielder, hoping to get a little bit more run in his second season with the program. Nearby Manchester by the Sea. And I suppose he's still by the sea now. We're playing off not far from the harbor. It's a lovely spot if you haven't come out to a game here. You ought to. Pleasant ballpark, opened in 2016, and Brendan Eigerbrot says he feels like it's given his team a boost. They feel like they've got a park to defend, and they've been playing stellar baseball here just about ever since. Debuted it before the 2016 season, right before they pretty much became a regular fixture in the NCAA Super Regionals every year. And that's going to be a walk for Levitt to lead off the bottom of the sixth.
Attention, please. Hitting for Drew Betzdorf, number 17, Zach Park.
Now with Levitt on first, Zach Park steps in and takes ball one. Whitehouse has thrown 5 pitches. All of them have been balls. Has thrown 6 pitches. All of them have been balls. And if he doesn't find his command relatively quickly, he's going to be sending the Beacons back on the bottom of the 6th inning trajectory. The left fielder is doing jumping jacks out there. It's as good a way as any to stay warm, I suppose. Swing and a miss in the first strike of his appearance. Goes up on the board. That's 2-1 now. Levitt taking a healthy lead from first. Whitehouse gives him a look from the stretch, comes home, and gets a second strike and a foul ball. 2-2 now. Levitt staring, Whitehouse staring back, and finally goes over there. Soft tosses it. Still 9-2 Beacons. 2 runs in the first inning for the Hornets. 4 runs in the second, 3 runs in the fourth, 2 runs in the fifth for the Beacons. And now in the bottom of the 6th, threatening again as that pitch goes to the backstop, and Levitt easily to second. Another runner in scoring position with nobody out for UMass Boston. And Whitehouse is having some major control issues here. Park's got a 3-2 count up here, and a pitcher who has not been finding the zone with regularity in the last couple of minutes. But he does that time, blows it by him for the first out of the 6th. Now strolling to the plate is Jake Woltman. His first at-bat in this one after starting the last game.
Your attention, please. Hitting for Craig Corliss, number 38, Jake Bolton.
Ball one. Pitch lands in the other batter's box. Runner on second now, 1 out after the strikeout. Woltman takes the second pitch as well. It's also a ball. This one low. And the count 2-0. UMass Boston trying to stay focused here in the offensive half of the 6th inning. Second baseman feigning back, giving him an option if he chooses to throw. Whitehouse holding the ball a long time and eventually comes home. He's slide stepping home more than anything else. And it's ball 3. Whitehouse has thrown 11 pitches now, 7 of them balls. Well, he throws back to second there and a dive back to the bag. Whitehouse looking in, looking back. Comes home and a swing and a miss. 3-1. 3-0 green light with a 7-run lead. And Jake Woltman, after a game of sitting on the bench, wants some action. Going to be a little bit more aggressive, perhaps, than some other hitters would. And that ball's going to skip into shallow center field. Taking off for third and getting there with plenty of time to spare is Luke Levitt. And now Woltman doesn't even need a hit to score him. Short-armed the throw. The second baseman couldn't get in front of it. Now UMass Boston with a chance to cash in their 10th run of the game for what would be their 3rd double-digit scoring effort in their first 4 games and their 2nd double-digit scoring effort of the day. Three-two pitch. Swing and a miss, and the second strikeout of the inning for Cooper Whitehouse. Recovers nicely. And now coming up to bat as a pinch hitter, Mariano Jimenez, freshman outfielder. This is his first plate appearance of the season. You saw him as a pinch runner in the earlier game when he turned the base path between first and second base into there's no elegant way to say this. He fell flat on his face and made it to second base anyway. And then on the pickoff throw to first base on the subsequent play, very alertly, proficiently, and while staying on his feet the entire time, took third base. So you can look at this a couple different ways. One is he face planted, and that's funny. The other way you can look at it is he's fast enough that he can face plant and still get to second base ahead of the throw. Either one of which is in some way a credit to him. And he takes ball 3 here from Cooper Whitehouse, who has once again lost the ability to find the strike zone. Mariano Jimenez with his first at-bat of the season. And for that matter, as a beacon, if I'm not mistaken. And he'll take ball 4. And Jimenez on first base now, and we'll see what sort of base running proficiency and or lack of proficiency may ensue. You give him the benefit of the doubt. And now strolling up to the plate, it's going to be Gianni Cirilli. Homer earlier in this game.
Shortstop number 3, Gianni Cirilli Jr.
Jimenez posing like an action figure over there at second base. That one gets away, and he's going to have second base all to himself. Runs very competently to second base, gets there standing up on purpose. And now with 2 runners in scoring position and 2 out, an opportunity for Gianni Zorilli to knock in a couple of runs if he can find the outfield grass. One-zero pitch. Whitehouse comes home high. Ball 2. It's 21 pitches for Whitehouse in this inning, only a third of them for strikes. Comes home again and fouled away. Most of the ones that have been for strikes, that was number 8, have been because the pitch was fouled off or was missed. Don't think he's had more than 1 or 2 called strikes the whole inning. Fires home, popped high, floating foul. And the count goes 2-2. So 2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. 9-2 lead for the Beacons. They've scored a run in the last 2 innings. Or they've scored multiple runs in the last 2 innings. Out of Falls Village, Connecticut. This is his 3rd appearance. He has 1 start to his name. Total, you can tag him with 5 1/3 innings. 4 earned runs in that span. Couple of strikeouts and a walk. He has given up a home run. And now strolling to the plate, it's going to be Boston Burris. Hitless in 3 trips so far this season, but with an RBI to his name. He's a sophomore infielder from Highland Village, Texas. He's going to get to go back to his home state in a week or so. And right now he's stepping in lefty on righty. And that pitch almost found its way to the backstop, and Bustamante deserves sizable credit for there not being any runs on the board in the bottom of the 6th inning, right? I mean, he's kept a couple wild pitches in his mitt. 1-0. Burris, it's called strike anyway, whether he went or not. So 1-1 now. Bases loaded. Levitt at 3rd. That one bounces in, and Bustamante keeps that one in front of him as well. So Levitt at 3rd. Jimenez at 2nd. Zorilli at 1st. Boston Burris at the plate with a very favorable 2-1 count and 2 outs. Comes home, strike 2. Runners take their leads. Chance for UMass Boston to heap on some more damage. Fouled away into the top of the screen down the 3rd base line. We'll do it again. Two-two pitch. Comes home 3-2, and the runners will be off with the next pitch. Boston Burris right off the bench and into a bases loaded jam that Dylan Crump's trying to work his way out of. 7th pitch of the at-bat. Fly ball lofted down the left field line. That's going to be out of play, and there will be an 8th pitch. Remember, a 7-inning game here. So 3 more outs for the Hornets to work with and try to pull off some kind of miracle here. Crump winds. Fires. Ball 4. 10th run of the game, the 25th of the day for UMass Boston. Comes on an RBI walk from Boston Burris. UMass Boston, without a hit in the inning, cashes in a run. 4 walks. And the run is forced in. That pitch, ooh, a nice little tailing action as it came back to the outside edge there after looking initially like it was headed for the opposite batter's box. 0-1. Crump trying badly to shut the door. The last run charged to Whitehouse. It's a high pop fly in a shallow right center field. 3 guys converging on it, and it drops. 2 runs are in. 3 runs are in. Bases clearing double. And you see why they call him Henry Score. That's all he seems to do. Cashes in 3 runners ahead of him, and it's a 13-2 drubbing. Unbelievable stuff here from the Beacons. They just keep piling him on. And now Kevin Carrera is going to pop into pinch hit. Eigebrodt completely emptying the bench as best he can. And all these pinch hitters who hopped in, same goes for the first game, are hopping into scenarios where there are runners in scoring position, in this case at third base, as the ball skips away from Bustamante. So these guys coming in cold off the bench in more ways than one are getting chances to knock in some runs and have responded pretty well. One ball, no strikes, 2 out. Score at third. Pitch fired, plate word catches the outer edge for a strike. It's not really a whole lot to say that we haven't gone through, to be honest with you. It's 4 of the last 5 innings, including the last 3 in a row. UMass Boston has put up multiple runs. They've put up their second 4 spot of the game here in the 6th. They have scored 15 combined runs in their 6th innings today. 2-1 pitch now. High fly ball, center field, moving the center fielder back. He makes the catch as he tumbles to the ground. Tripped over his own feet in the end, but he held on to the ball, and the 6th inning comes to a close. 3 more outs for the Beacons to seal a dominating doubleheader sweep, and we'll be right back from Monin Park. We got a slew of defensive substitutions here. Basically everyone that pinch hit in that marathon of a 6th inning has found some home or another in the outfield, along with Cole Porter, who you saw pitching in the last game and is now slotted in at second base. In the pitch now, we have got number 39, Josh Eastman, the graduate right-hander, 6'2", 245, the big man out of Marshfield, Mass, has popped on to turn off the lights of the Hornets here. He's throwing from that low arm slot, as you can see. He's going to have, let's see who he's got in the opening 3. It's going to be Carlos Batista, Alberto Bustamante, and back to the top for Ryder Thornton. At minimum here, they've got to bat around and then some to have a chance here with an 11-run deficit. But they came into the last 7th inning, top of the 7th inning, the final inning, with a, just doing a little bit of mental math here, 14-run deficit. So they've certainly faced bleaker. And they did score 2 runs in the top of that frame, so we may be in for a little bit of offense here. Oh, 1. Oh, pure gas by him. 0-2. It's tricky hitting off, you hit off pitchers with a certain arm slot all game, and then a reliever comes in and he's throwing like this. It's not sidearm necessarily as he punches out Batista for the first out of the inning. It's just that he's dragging his arm so far off to the side and so far back, he's not showing you the ball until he gets relatively late in the delivery. Bustamante strolls to the plate. Excuse me right now. This is a, my bad. This is a pinch hitter. This is going to be Oscar Paredes, the freshman outfielder out of Puerto Rico. So Lyndon opening up the bench a little bit, getting some more guys some playing time. First pitch comes in for a ball. Wines, fires, swing and a miss. Makes it tricky because it's not necessarily that the velocity has to be overwhelming when you're throwing from that arm slot. But if the hitter can't pick it up right away, you're buying yourself effectively a few extra miles an hour on the pitch. 1-1. And another late swing there from Paredes. 1-2. Winds, fires. Oh, and a bad reach swing there. Back-to-back strikeouts. And the last chance for the Hornets. Ryder Thornton at the top of the order. Josh Eastman, in his first appearance on the season, has been in absolute command. Strike 1. For Eastman, he has thrown 7 pitches. 6 of them strikes. That one is dribbled. That's going to be an infield hit unless it rolls foul. It does. Smart play by the Beacons. They didn't have a prayer at first base, and so they let it roll foul. Make that 7 of 8 pitches, rather, have been strikes for Eastman. Ryder Thornton stepping in. Team down to their last strike. And a ball from Eastman. 1-2 pitch. Eastman winds and fires. Just missed strike 3. Just off the plate. Two and 2. Fires, line drive, down the line, fair ball, past the diving first baseman. Rounding first on his way to second. Right fielder stumbles here. And stopping at second base in any case. Not that it really matters hustling for third at this point. The 10 guys behind you need to score to tie the game. You don't really care too much about third base. But the batter's going to be John Mahoney. Hitless in 2 at-bats, but did reach on a walk and scored on a fielder's choice reach back in the first inning. He's one of only 2 Hornets to score in the second half of the doubleheader. And he fouls the first pitch off here, 0-1. Mahoney showed remarkable plate discipline in the first game when he was drawing all kinds of walks. He's got 4 walks on the day to lead all hitters. Line drive right at the first baseman, snags it, and that will do it. Another dominating win for UMass Boston, 13-2 this time, and they sweep the doubleheader by a combined score of 28-5 over the Lyndon Hornets. A dominating performance in all respects for UMass Boston. The competition level is going to change here. Lyndon came in as a 2-7 team, and we will see what happens when UMass gets to the conference slate. But so far, there has not been much to complain about for the Beacons. An average scoring margin of +10 over their opponents through 4 games. They are eviscerating teams beyond what is normal. And for a team that had difficulty last year in the COVID season, a team that did not have a whole lot of chances to develop players, to hit the weight room, suffered injuries, COVID pauses, players being sidelined en masse, and they never really got their feet underneath them. Possibly a scary harbinger of what could be on the horizon for a team that often ranks among New England's best. Couple of notes before we sign off. Going to look ahead briefly to this team's next games. It's going to be MIT in a few days before they take the trip south to Concordia University in Texas. They have got a couple of games after that around the New England area before conference play starts. Quick thank you to our crew, some of whom did both games, some of whom just did the one game. Allie Crawford, Mary Jo Murphy, Kelly Danahy, Gina Albano, Elena Albano, Sarah St. Cyrin, and Georgia Bonney helping us out on producing, directing, replay, and on operating the cameras. It's a team effort. They stuck around here. It's cold. It's windy. They stuck it through. And a major thank you to them. Once again, the final scores from Monin Park in Boston, Massachusetts. UMass Boston sweeps Northern University Vermont Lyndon 15-3 and 13-2 in a pair of 7-inning games. They'll be back against MIT on this field in a few days. For all of us here in Boston, my name is Milton Posner. Thank you so very much for listening, and have a wonderful rest of your night.